Am I the a-hole for not giving my ex-girlfriend money I promised her? I had been dating Sam, female 31, for 2 years, and she had a problem with her car. I was getting money as a bonus, and I told her that she should get her car fixed, and I would gift her the money to pay off her credit card instead of giving her a Christmas or birthday gift this year. She got her car fixed, but then broke up with me about a month ago. Don't know why and don't really care. I thought we were doing well, but I guess not. She contacted me to see if I had gotten the money and when I would be sending it. I told her I had no plans on sending her money, and she said I was an a-hole for letting her put herself in debt if I had no plans to actually live up to my promise. I think that the situation has changed. I was planning on giving her the money, and she would have been screwed without a car. She needs it for work and to drive her kid around. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Actions have consequences. Breaking up means not getting the partner treatment anymore. The money was clearly meant to be contingent on being your partner. Not partner anymore, no money. I would say that you would be crazy to still give her the money. Not the a-hole. Absolutely do not give this person money. Block and move on, and don't allow yourself to get manipulated or persuaded. Not the a-hole. It's perfectly normal to lend money to a significant other. Once that relationship ends, you no longer owe them anything. She is gaslighting you, so you will give her money. She's an adult. Figure it out. Paying credit cards and for your car to be fixed is what adults do. This doesn't feel like a loan here. It was the promise of a gift. So yeah, not the a-hole. If it was a loan, I would feel different. Like, what if she paid up front to fix his car with the expectation that he would pay her back, not as any gift stipulation? She knew she was going to dump you and still accepted a gift. If you were doing something inappropriate and got caught, then yes, you should. But no, don't help her. If she just dumped you out of the blue, she either had it planned out for a while or has been going behind your back with someone new. Block her and everything. If you get bothered by your friends, say she took the offer when she was seeing someone behind my back or had it planned before she took the offer. Lord, I wish I had the confidence and audacity of this woman. What is she going to do? Withhold intimacy or break up with you if you don't pay? My God, not the a-hole. Next story. Am I the a-hole for throwing my brother an end of alimony party? My older brother and his ex had a rocky marriage before they finally divorced. To be honest, there were enough faults in both of their parts, so no one can claim the high ground. But because his income was several times of hers, the court awarded her alimony. Thankfully, they were married for less than 10 years, so he only had to pay her alimony for half of the years they were married. His last payment to her will happen this month, so the guys and I are planning an end of alimony party for him. We're planning a week-long stay in Vegas at the Wynn, and we'll chip in to fully cover his end. Because we're planning to go at the end of the month, and there are about a dozen guys going, we've been texting and talking to coordinate the trip. When the trip was first planned, I told my girlfriend, and she wasn't happy about it. She wasn't mad that we're having a guys trip, because we've taken separate vacations before without any issues. She wasn't happy with the theme, and said that it was in bad taste. I disagree, and we had discussions about it until we agreed to disagree. On Friday, she was using my phone to watch her shows, and one of the guys sent a picture he designed for a shirt we're planning to have made for him to wear. The gist of the design is that he's free of alimony payments and can afford to eat again with some graphics. It was in a group text, and the other guys texted their robust approval. This sent my girlfriend into a rage I've never seen before. We got into a huge argument that lasted all weekend. We even had to cancel dinner plans we had with some friends. I thought our argument was coming to an end, but this morning while we were getting ready for work, she gave me the silent treatment and completely ignored my questions. Basically, she wants me to cancel the trip and admit that we're being terrible people for celebrating something so painful. I don't want to cancel the trip, and my brother is excitedly looking forward to the end of his payments, so I don't see any pain. I honestly don't know why she's so mad, because none of this have anything to do with her. She doesn't even know the ex, since they divorced before we even met. Not the a-hole, but I hope you remember to sign a prenup before you marry this one, and don't let her be a stay-at-home anything. Don't rely on her birth control. If a guy doesn't want children, there are birth control methods that a man can use. If she gets pregnant and he didn't use them, it's on him. Female birth control is only 90 to 94% reliable at the best of times. Never ever rely on someone else to prevent children you don't want. Not the a-hole, but this is showing some pretty big red flags. Sounds like she's upset that you wouldn't be open to paying her when you guys get divorced. She can't claim girl code because this happened before she was even around and it has nothing to do with her. Enjoy your trip and reconsider your relationship. Not the a-hole. The last months of the marriage were painful. The divorce was painful. Having to pay money every month to someone who hurt you and who you'd rather just forget entirely was painful. This is not painful. This is him finally being free from that part of his past, which will allow him to fully heal and move on. The only person this might be painful for is his ex, who has benefited from that money and has continued paying for the last 5 years. I could maybe see where she's coming from if the party theme was being rid/free of X as a person. Like good riddance to Mandy, or whatever her name is, because that would be a personal attack. But just being free of having to shell out money every month? There is nothing wrong with that at all. The fact that your girlfriend thinks it's bad says a lot about her character and intent, and what it says isn't good. Red flag alert. Do not marry this woman, OP. From a woman. Next story. Am I the a-hole for denying my son's father phone calls after 8 years of no contact? Okay, backstory. I got pregnant at 17 and my son's father was out from the jump. He was not interested in being involved in our son's life at all. When my son was 3, I started dating my now husband. My son calls him dad but knows he's not his real dad. When my son was 5, I got served papers from my dad taking me to court for visitation. During court, the judge charged him with 1 count of child abandonment, but did approve of visits, starting in a therapist's office doing what's called reunification therapy. After 2 months of that, they got to have 4-hour weekly visits in the county I live in. The father lives 3 hours away. Anyway, after 4 visits expanded over 3 months, the dad called me and said he was moving across the country. He stated that he is never coming back to my state, but wanted to keep in touch. I would send a few pictures and updates, but eventually stopped after he wouldn't respond. One day I got a text from him telling me I should just have my husband adopt my son so he wouldn't have to pay child support. It's been 8 years since he's moved across the country, but he has never asked about our son until 2 days ago. He texted me and asked when would it be a good time to talk to our son. I texted back and said that he would need to petition the courts for a new parenting plan if he's really serious about it, and he said I'm being difficult. Our son is 13 years old now. That would be extremely awkward to start phone calls after this many years, and especially since his dad ditched him after 6 months of meeting him the first time. Am I the a-hole for saying no? Edit with more info. No, my husband didn't adopt my son. Mostly because he is already his dad in every single way. And since sperm donor moved so far away, I figured why not collect the a-hole tax, child support. Yes, sperm donor pays monthly support. He and his new wife have actually reached out multiple times with the "let your husband adopt him" comment, but then claim that I am the one that's only about money. I do think that this could be linked to the new wife's pressures. She lost her 25-year-old brother to COVID last year, so maybe she's realizing how important family is. Another thing, my son has IDD, so he doesn't act as a normal 13-year-old. Probably more like a 10-year-old. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. To your son, he is essentially a stranger. Your husband is his father. Husband is his real dad. The other man is just biological. Please find a therapist that specializes in your situation. Your son deserves a plan that makes him a priority. OP has done well thus far, but she needs unbiased help. All this back and forth when it suits him won't be good for your kid, and I'd be explaining this to a judge. Not the a-hole. You're protecting your child. Be extremely vigilant and paranoid about why your ex suddenly wants to talk. He may just want to manipulate your son. Probably needs a kidney. Also common when there is a new girlfriend in the mix, and he doesn't want to look like the deadbeat dad he is. Not the a-hole. This is so similar to the one earlier this week. For some reason, the absent parent needs to show or have a contact with a child. I'd say no and be suspicious. Sometimes people just don't care about or have the patience for small children, but think they can jump right in when the hardest work has been done and the child is old enough to be interesting to them. Or he has a new girlfriend who has been questioning his lack of involvement and he wants to look good to her. Either way, he's a waste of space. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband my life plans after he passes does not include any reliance on his children? My husband, 62 male, has 2 children from his previous marriage that I, 48 female, met in their early adolescence. Both children have good relationship with their parents, with the typical rockiness that comes with the teen years. Both are in their 20s now, working on their degrees, and overall doing well. My relationship with both of them have been cordial and emotionally disconnected, in large part because I never felt like I was allowed to be a stepmother. I was expected by both parents to be their friend. As an adult in her 30s, I was simply not comfortable being friends with two children under the age of 13. I tried to be as open to talking with them, showing them affection, taking them places, doing interesting things with them, and trying to engage with them on their level. But my hands were always tied whenever their behavior needed correction, and more than once led to getting steamrolled for enforcing rules that I personally live by, like telling his daughter to not hit her brother. I often felt like I was a stranger in my own house when things got out of control. Nevertheless, I got through it, and they're adults now, and for the most part, all is well. But while my husband has children, I wasn't able to have kids, despite desperately wanting to have one. Those facts means that my reality requires me to be as prepared as I can, because I will be alone if he dies before me. While explaining this to him, in the broader context of why I was investing the way I have been, he got his feelings hurt, thinking that I should assume his kids will take care of me. They already have a mother they may have to take care of, and I would hope that if I need help taking care of my husband, that they would help as well. But I have no illusions that such a sense of offspring duty or obligation would be extended to me. But he thinks that I'm insulting his children as being unfeeling or callous. To be perfectly fair, if they didn't lift a finger for me, I really wouldn't attribute it to being unfeeling or callous, only that they genuinely have no real obligation to take care of me. What's worse is he wants to talk to his kids about this and put them into that ugly position of insisting that they would take care of me to make him happy, or being honest and say they wouldn't and deal with him being disappointed. He's irritated and hurt, and I feel like I'm an a-hole for trying to make sure I am not screwed if I'm unlucky enough to hit 80 and be all alone. Not the a-hole. It's wise to plan for your future, ignoring your relationship or lack thereof for these kids. They aren't responsible for caring for parents in their old age. Point out to your husband that if at any point he needs help, they don't have to, morally or legally. You are responsible. I'm not sure why he got upset. He decided the parameters of your relationship with his stepkids. Explain this and that you don't want it raised with his kids because he ensured they weren't yours. Thank you. I think his sense of hurt is because he thinks I have a low opinion of his children, that I don't see his children as particularly generous of wallet or spirit. I really don't think less of them. Perhaps he's upset because it indicates that I never thought more of them. While I agree that children really have no legal obligation, we may quibble over the moral element mostly because I reject rule-by-thumb morality. At the end of the day, in my case, I really don't think they have a moral or legal obligation to take care of me at all. And he's interpreting this has me thinking poorly of them. Him not listening to you or just misinterpreting your response? You probably need to clarify this before it festers. Would reading your post upset him? It's very lucid, concise, and has no bitterness or malice. That's very kind of you. I may share it with him. Sometimes reading things are taken differently than hearing it. Why does it bother him that you are investing in being financially wise? Aside from his choosing to be offended by your not assuming his kids will take care of you, why is your fiscal responsibility even questioned? Any chance he would prefer you spend the money you invest? He could assure you that he will take care of you with his investments and insurance if it predeceases you. So why isn't he reassuring you by telling you that in detail? Guessing he will leave everything to his kids, and you assuming he will do that and that his kids won't help you is embarrassing to him, because he knows it is valid. If he dies before you, what financial measures are in place to care for you? Worst case scenario for OP is that husband talks to his kids, and they tell him whatever he wants to hear, even though it's not true, so he leaves all his assets to his kids. He thinks they'll take care of OP. They don't. She's up a creek. She needs to insist on some insurance policies where she's the beneficiary at minimum. His social security? What about their home? Will she inherit his half? Is she even on a deed? I really appreciate the concern here. In a way, I hear my late father's voice as these are the kind of ideas he would bring up. The house is in my name alone. I bought it before we married. I've been aggressively saving my own retirement accounts, and I'm okay given my current age and my own planned retirement. I'm sole beneficiary with his life insurance policy. I know his retirement funds are split 3 beneficiaries, me and the kids. He is the kind of man who would want to make sure that all of us have something to help with the expense of his passing, and that the kids have a little buffer in life.